So you're traveling to Madrid and you've heard of the Mercado de San Miguel, but is it worth it? In this video, we're going to find out. I'll be taking you around the market and I'll be trying different foods that you can find here, and as a local, I will be rating them and telling you if this is actually good Spanish cuisine or not. If you're new here, by the way, hi, my name is Laura and I've spent the past few years traveling all over the world to places like Kenya and Tanzania, Pakistan, France, Switzerland, and so much more. In this channel, I typically share lots of travel vlogs, hidden gems, and travel guides, so if that sounds like something you like, make sure you subscribe for more, and now let's go back into the video. But before I go to the Mercado de San Miguel, I'm going to go to this place right here, to La Mallorquina. This is one of the most famous bakeries in Spain, and they have some of the best macarons I've ever tried, so I want to show you. La Mallorquina is a very famous bakery in La Puerta del Sol, which is right in the middle of Madrid. You can't get much more centric than that. And this place was founded in 1894, so this bakery is over 125 years old. Like, how crazy is that? It's called La Mallorquina because its three original founders were from Mallorca, and during the early 20th century, this is a place where lots of poets, writers, politicians, and even members of the royal family came to. They came here to eat, and this is a place with lots and lots of history. Nowadays, they do lots of traditional recipes, but with a modern twist, and everything that they bake here is so good. I particularly like their macarons, so that is what I ordered today. These are macarons. They're originally a French dessert, but I absolutely love them. They're like made with different layers, and these are chocolate flavored, but there's lots of different kinds of flavors. The thing about them is they're very intricate to make because of all the layers and stuff, so they're quite expensive. This was €3, so €1.50 each, and I would have bought a whole box of them, but like I said, expensive, so I'm only having these. That's what they look like in the inside for context, and they're not as crunchy as you might think. They've got a little bit of crunch on the outside layer, but everything else is very creamy. The texture is so good, the flavor is so good. Absolutely delicious. 10 out of 10, this is amazing. After La Mallorquina, I went over to the Mercado de San Miguel, or San Miguel Market, which is the main topic of this video, of course. And this is a very famous market in Madrid, if not the most famous market, for its tapas. So a tapa is basically an appetizer. It's an appetizer, but make it traditional and make it Spanish, and they're very good. So most people come here to kind of try different Spanish foods and get a taste of Spanish cuisine. My first impressions of the market is that it's a lot smaller than I remembered it to be. So I was here around 10 years ago and I haven't been back since, but I didn't try the food last time. I just went inside the market to kind of see what it was all about. And it was smaller than I remembered, honestly, and also a lot more crowded than I thought it would be. So I came here pretty early, at around 11, because I knew that a lot of people would come here, especially it's summer right now, it's the tourist season, so I imagined that it would get pretty crowded around 1 or 2 p.m. when it's lunchtime, but I didn't think it would be that crowded so early. Anyways, there are over 30 food stalls in this market, and they all serve different kinds of tapas. So some serve just general tapas, but other food stalls specialize in seafood or fish or fruit, sweets, meat, those kinds of things. There's also a food stall that specializes in cheese, I think. But anyways, I went to a place called Arzabal Market first. Arzabal is one of the more famous food stalls here, and they actually have two different stalls. So in one of them, they serve general tapas, a little bit of everything, and on the other one, they serve croquetas, and croquetas is one of my favorite Spanish foods ever. So that is where I went first. Okay, so I left the market for a minute so I could show you these and try these and rate them for you, but these are croquetas. So this is a very traditional Spanish dish. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it to you, but it's fried, and inside they're very creamy. There's bechamel inside, and they have different flavors. So the most traditional croquetas are made out of ham, and we've got one ham croqueta right here. But you can make croquetas with lots of different ingredients. So I also have cheese, cod, so fish, and there's 2 mushroom croquetas. So I'm gonna try these and rate this for you.
Oh, and also, before I try these were insanely expensive. All of this, 5 croquetas was €9, which is so much. And they had an offer for 5 because I was originally only going to have 4. But they said, oh, there's an offer for 5. So I got 5 and it's €9, like insanity to me.
So let's go rating the first croqueta. And by the way, I'm not sure which flavor this one is. Like, I know what flavors I asked for, but I don't know which exact flavor each of them are. So quite good. I think this is a ham one, but I'm not entirely sure. It feels pretty basic to me, so it must be ham. And that is what it looks in the inside. Okay, so second croqueta, here we go. Feels like the same one as the one I had before, but I think this is a mushroom one. I don't think this is ham anymore. And that is what it looks like. So let's go with the third one. This is fish. Not my favorite, to be honest, but I will say I generally don't like fish croquetas or like cod croquetas in general, so the croqueta itself isn't bad, it's just not my favorite flavor. Okay, so let's go to this one. This is definitely cheese. I don't love this one, it's too much. Honestly, it's a bit too much, but if you like cheese, maybe this is for you. I like cheese, but not this. And last one, this is already kind of broken. It's way too creamy in the inside. So it didn't hold up, but this is definitely ham. It could be a bit sturdier though, in my opinion.
So I'm gonna be honest, these weren't the best. Like, croquetas themselves are very good. I really love them. They're one of my favorite Spanish dishes, and these were good. By all means, these were good, but definitely not the best I've ever had, and definitely not worth €9 in my opinion. I'm gonna finish these and then go back into the market and keep trying some food for you.
So those croquetas were kind of mediocre, honestly. I mean, they weren't bad, but they weren't the best either, and definitely not worth €9. And in case paying €9 for mediocre croquetas wasn't enough, I paid for those croquetas with a €20 bill, and they had to give me back €11 at Arzabal at the food stall, and I accidentally left them on the counter, so I ended up paying $20 for those. And I actually did notice while I was in the market that I had forgot to pick up those €11, and I went back to the food stall. And I told them the issue, that I'd accidentally left €11 and they must have like picked them up. And the girl there said like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I can't open the register without my supervisor here, and my supervisor is not in the market today. So, I mean, she was a nice girl, but like, it was very annoying. Like, it wasn't their fault, but it wasn't very nice of them to also like not open and give me back my €11 that I had left on the counter on accident and that they had taken. But yeah, anyways, moving on. I went to a different post after Arzabal called Madra Miga, which serves sweets, and it's kind of a bakery as well. They also have chocolate con churros, which is, I mean, churros and chocolate, which I don't love, so I didn't order that, but I noticed that they had the prices in front of their products, which was nice. And they were a bit expensive, in all honesty, but the prices didn't seem as outrageous to me. Like, there were some cakes that they were like €6 or €7, but they felt like pretty filling. And I feel like that's kind of what you would pay for like something similar at a different kind of bakery. Maybe not as expensive, but in that price range for sure.
So this is Madra Miga, and they have more macarons, but these are €2.80 instead of €1.50 like in La Mayorina. And La Mayorina, mind you, is already expensive, like €1.50 per macaron. So I want to see how these compare to La Mayorina.
So I got another chocolate macaron so I could compare to La Mayorquina effectively, like using the same flavor. And I also got a coquito. So coquito literally translates to small coconut, and as the name suggests, it's a coconut dessert. It's meant to taste like coconut, and I personally love these. I haven't had them in forever, so I bought one of those as well, but I didn't eat them immediately. I actually took them home and tried them when I got back home. So at the end of the video, I'll rate them for you. I'll let you know if they taste good, and I'll let you know if they were worth the price, because both of these things were expensive. Like, both of these things cost me €4 something. Like, I can't remember off the top of my memory, but I'll put it on the screen. So pretty expensive for two very small desserts. And after Madra Miga, I just walked around the market for a little while and I looked at all of the food that they had. So this post, for example, had lots of cheeses. Like, cheese is very, very typical in Spain, but I'm not a huge fan of cheese. Like, I don't really care much for it. I like it, I just don't love it. But I do love embutido. So embutido is cured meat. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it, but it's like Iberian ham or chorizo, those kinds of things. And my favorite is fuet, which is it's not the best embutido ever, but it's very, very good. And I saw this one post selling fuet for €18. Like, that is wild. Like, wild. You can get the same amount of fuet in the supermarket for like under €2. Like, I would not pay more than €2 for the fuet that they're selling. And yeah, like, it's a lot of fuet, but still, you can get that amount in the supermarket for like less than €2, and it's probably better than this one, in all honesty. If they were asking for, I don't know, €3 or €4, I'd be like, okay, I mean, that's expensive, but this is very touristic place, it's very centric, okay, fine. But 18 or 19 euros, like, that is just effing insane. They were also selling Iberian ham for roughly the same price, and it's just like, oh my god, no. Like, Iberian ham can be more expensive because, like, if it's very good quality ham, I can see it being that price, but it better be very, very good, and it just does not look good enough to be 18 euros in all honesty. And also the way that it's cut, I'm sorry, but that is not how you cut Iberian ham effectively, at least not in my opinion. Like, I'm not a pro, but listen, I'm from Spain. I know my Spanish cuisine well, and this is just not it. Anyways, I didn't buy anything here because just by looking at it, I just did not think that it would be worth my price. Like, it just wasn't. Anyways, I continued walking and I found another stall that looked very, very good, and it was expensive, but in this case, I do think that the price was justified because they were selling seafood. So seafood is always going to be expensive, and in a place like this, in a very centric, very touristic place, I understand it if they inflate the price a little bit. The problem with Arzabal and with the place where they sold the embutido is that the prices were just outrageous, like outrageous. But this place I actually think had decent prices. For example, they were selling vieiras for €14 for 5 vieiras, which is kind of similar to what you would pay in a restaurant in a non-touristic place. So I was actually completely fine with that price. I decided not to buy anything here because even though I love seafood, I was still like upset about losing like my €11 at Arzabal and like basically paying $20 for croquetas. So I decided, you know what? No seafood for me here. Like, I'm already spending way too much money in this market. But I do think that the prices here were okay. If the quality is good, then this is a food stall that I would actually recommend that you try. Last but not least, I went to a food stall called El Señor Martín, which sells fish, and specifically fried fish, which is very typical from Madrid, but also from southern Spain. And again, I absolutely love it, so I just had to try it. So I ordered a bocadillo de calamares, or like a calamari sandwich, I guess that would be the translation, which is very, very typical from Madrid, but specifically from La Plaza Mayor, which is one of the most famous squares in Madrid, and it is like within walking distance of the Mercado de San Miguel. It's like 50 meters away. So I decided to buy that. It cost me €13, which is a lot for a small sandwich. If it had been bigger, I think the price would have been okay. For such a small sandwich, it was just too much. Like, I went to the Plaza Mayor right after this and I found a calamari sandwich there for €4. And I think that's a much more acceptable price, honestly. I don't think the quality would have been that different either, but anyways, this is about rating El Mercado de San Miguel, which is why I bought it here. I also decided to take the sandwich home instead of eating it at the market, so I will try it along with the sweets that I bought earlier towards the end of the video. After this, I decided to leave the market, but before going back home, I checked out the Plaza Mayor, which, like I was saying, is one of the most important squares and the most famous squares in the Madrid city center, and it is also one of the major sites for, like, architecture in Madrid. The Plaza Mayor was built in 1619, and it actually has a pretty dark history because this place suffered 3 major fires throughout its history, so it had a lot of reconstruction. The last major fire was in 1790, but the really dark part is that this was actually the site of a lot of events, including public executions, particularly during the time of the Spanish Inquisition. So on June 30th, 1680, actually, there was a major public execution here where 117 people were sentenced by the Spanish Inquisition before a large public audience, and 21 of those were condemned to death by burning. So pretty dark, if you ask me. The Plaza Mayor has also hosted other events in its history, so for example, football games or bullfights, and interestingly, it now hosts the annual Christmas market in Madrid, which is very interesting considering its history. But if you don't take into consideration its very dark past, this place is actually quite beautiful. The architecture is lovely, and even though it's a very touristic place and a very centric place, because it's quite big, it doesn't feel crowded, and its entrances are lovely as well. Okay, so I'm back home now, and I'm going to try the 3 other things that I bought at the market that I didn't get to try over there. So those are the calamari sandwich and the 2 desserts that I had, the macaron and the coquito. So let's try that. Okay, so this is the bocadillo de calamares, and it's a very simple dish. It's just a calamari sandwich. So these are fried calamari, the bread, and yeah, that's it. I mean, this one's a bit smushed because I've been carrying it all the way from the market back home, but other than that, it looks really good. Okay, so let's try this. I'm gonna start with just the calamari. Okay, yeah, these are good. These are good. This is generally a bit hard to eat because there's so much bread. Kind of like eating a hamburger, there's just too much and it just doesn't fit in your mouth. But yeah, other than that, this is really good. Okay, so I'm gonna give the calamari sandwich an 8.5 out of 10 because it was good, it was very good, but it also wasn't anything super special. I didn't feel like it justified the price. A small calamari sandwich for 13 euros, it's just a bit much. I went to the Plaza Mayor right after the market, and calamari sandwich is a very popular thing to have in La Plaza Mayor, and I saw them for 4 euros for the same size of sandwich, and I'm sure that it would have been roughly the same quality. So it's just not enough to justify their price for me for the sandwich to be worth 13 euros. I think it should have been much bigger, but other than the inflated price, I do think the sandwich was good. Okay, so now let's move to the desserts. Okay, so firstly, this is the macaron. It looks pretty good, so let's see what this tastes like. Okay, so here we go. Okay, yeah, that's good, but it's not better than the Mayorina. And mind you, this was 2 euros, 2 euros 80 cents, and La Mayorina is 1.50. So this is more expensive, and it's not as good. I mean, not bad, but I prefer the Mayorina for sure. I will say though that macaron does taste a little bit more like chocolate. They both do, but the more chocolatey one is the one from the market. Okay, so now let's try the coquito. Okay, so this is the coquito, and coquito literally translates to small coconut in Spanish, and as you can imagine, this has coconut in it, and I absolutely love these, so let's see if this one is up to my standard. Let's see if I like it. Okay, here we go. This one is good. Definitely tastes like coconut. I did really like this one. I do think that this is actually good price. €1.50, yeah, a bit expensive, but it's also good, and it's not super outrageous in my opinion. Very good. Can we give this a 9
9.5 out of 10. So, is the Mercado de San Miguel worth it? Honestly, in my opinion, no. And I feel so bad saying that because I really wanted to like it. But in my opinion, it just isn't worth the price. So the market itself is free. You can go inside the market and walk around. And I do recommend that you do that because the vibes are great. And it's really cool to see all of the different types of food and all of the different tapas and all of the different shops and all of that. That is super cool. But then the prices of the food, it's just so expensive. And I don't think that it corresponds with the quality, because if the food was as good as the price, then yeah, I'd understand it. It would be expensive, but it would be worth it. But in my opinion, the prices are so inflated. And I understand that they're inflated because it's a touristic place, it's a famous place, but the prices just do not correspond with the food. I will say some shops were better than others. So for example, I would say that Madra Miga, which is where I bought the macaron and the coquitos, the macaron was overpriced in my opinion, but the coquito wasn't. And I think that a lot of the other things that they had were, at least, I mean, I didn't try them, but the prices made sense for the sizes they were selling. So they had some bigger like cakes, or like some small cakes which were like 6-7 euros, and I do think that is okay for at least the size. I'm not sure how good the quality of the cake was, but that is one that I'm a bit more lenient on. I do think that they had a little bit better pricing. The worst pricing by far was the croquetas for me. They were very mediocre in my opinion and not worth it. I mean, croquetas are good. They were good, but they were by no means excellent in my opinion. I think my favorite one was the boletus, but normally, I mean, when I have a boletus croqueta, I absolutely love it. I'm adoring it. And this one was kind of like, meh, you know, nothing super special. And then the good one, I didn't particularly like, but I will be, you know, generous there. And I'll say that I normally don't like that type of croqueta. But for example, the ham croqueta, it was so liquidy inside, and they're not meant to be like that. They were also super oily, and I mean, they're fried, so I expect them to be a little bit oily, like that's normal, but they were far too oily in my opinion. So the price really wasn't, it really wasn't worth it for those croquetas. And also they were on offer. Like, I got them on offer, so just not worth it in my opinion. Another place that I do feel probably had better prices was the seafood place. So mind you, it was expensive, but seafood in general is expensive, and I didn't think the prices were that crazy considering that it's seafood. I feel like if you went to a restaurant in Spain, the prices for those same foods would be roughly similar. So again, that was expensive, but I don't think that it's inflated, or at least not too much. But yeah, generally speaking, I think there's probably better places to try traditional Spanish food that are not so insanely expensive and that have such inflated prices. Maybe you will pay an expensive price because at the end of the day, good food costs money, but at least you will be paying for the quality of it and not getting a mediocre product for a lot of money. So, or like a bite-sized product for, like, for example, with the bocadillo de calamares. It was a very, very small portion for the price I paid. So at least you will be getting your money's worth if you go to another restaurant or like a different place to try traditional Spanish food. If you happen to know any shops or bars or restaurants in the Mercado de San Miguel where you feel like the quality is worth it, like places where you feel the price matches the quality, let me know because I would love to try them and give the market a second chance overall. Anyways, if you liked this video, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe. I'm currently trying to grow my YouTube channel, so all of those things help me out so much more than you think, and they're very, very much appreciated. And I hope to see you in my next video.